frequency. Talking truth, talking change, talking all that's real. With Francis Pierre at the wheel. Politics to faith, the latest trend. We talk it out from end to end. And if you've got something to share, pick up the phone, turn it up, Real FM, ride the frequency.
Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. As soon as we start this program, you're free to open bat or bowl. The number to call is 4420175. We on Real FM 91.9, 91.5. We on We Noise FM 94.9 in Brooklyn, New York. And we encourage you to share us, like the program, share the program, subscribe to Real FM. That's the best thing you could do for us. As we started yesterday and we said throughout the whole week, we're going to speak about the policies of the political party. Not much about the individual ministers or members of the party, unless the utterances, the expressions are really showing part of the philosophy of the party. Now, the written philosophy of the party is something they want to make palatable for all and sundry to accept. But there might be a lot of underlying things that they don't want you to know. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
I say I want to open ball today because yesterday the pitch was taking ball.
Yes, man.
You were taking real ball yesterday. A lot of man, as you pitch some bongs yesterday, some man to duck. I like how you deal with that how you have to deal with the guy. And I want to warn NMP supporters. We have two men that call your program. And then they want to spoil the program by attacking them people. That's the reason why the men calling the program. So they could move out from the real issues and try to attack them. So, Mr. Pierre, I listen. I just want to say that.
Nice.
Tell the NMP to, when the men talk, forget the men and let's deal with the issue.
Yes.
NMPites.
Yes.
NMPites, let's deal with the issue. Thank you, sir.
We have to deal with the policy. That is why we don't have regrets about political parties. You're going to always find leaders making mistakes, speaking out of turn, the mouth going faster than the brain. And that is good, sensational picong and politics. But the core policies of the political party, you must know. Otherwise, you will support a political party that is not in your interest. So today, I'm going to deal with another aspect of the policy of the National Democratic Congress that is different from the NNP. And in my opinion, people must know that. The attitude of the National Democratic Congress towards the vulnerable. Let me repeat that. The attitude of the National Democratic Congress towards the vulnerable. And saying somebody is vulnerable, almost anybody could be vulnerable, depends on the circumstances. If you have a hurricane pass in Grenada, a rich, wealthy man could become vulnerable. But under normal circumstances, the vulnerable people in your country is those who fall under the tax-paying threshold. One aspect. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good day, Mr. Pierre, the
Yes.
listening public.
Yes, my brother.
You're on a very good topic. I don't want to deviate, from that. But I believe what I want to say now might be something almost to the point you is about to
Go
make.
right ahead.
Because, Mr. Pierre, first of all, and others of listeners of Target, I think I want them to really make their comment as well. I want to know whether we're going back to dictatorship as we had in when we had the revolution in 1979. I want to know whether where we heading, because I noticed just a slight difference. We used to have, if you say if you say the revolution no good, or you say something bad about Bishop and his region, they say that you is a counter and you could get yourself locked up. Well, right now it don't happen that way. But I recognize that we still living in fear, some Grenadians. I spoke to some young lady last night. I said, why you saying the government is doing well? She said, I have to say the government is doing well. I know they are not doing well, but I asked them for some material. So I afraid I won't get it, so I have to say they do. I don't satisfy with how things going, but I have to say I spoke to another one. She said, even my 10 days work, I'm not getting, even though I say the government is not good. I mean, where we heading? People have to say things above their conscience just to end up getting what they ask for. You have to pretend. A gentleman tell me he had to play his IMDC. That never happened in our history of this country. If a government is not doing well in certain areas, I believe the citizens have the full right to comment of wrongdoing. In Eric Gary days, he used to get blows left, right, and center when he make a mistake. So do Kit Mitchell. But now you tell me you have to say you like NDC to get a job, you like NDC to get some material, you like NDC to get some a help with your house. This is totally wrong. And I think we Grenadians should speak out against that. This is why most people say they're afraid to attend a gathering of the NNP to hear the message. They're afraid because when something is going to take place, they will be left out. I have never seen that since 1967. I see government come, I see government go, and Grenadians was never in fear to criticize when there is time to criticize, except we have a one-man rule. Mr. Pierre, I rest my case. I hope others could really
Yes,
share
scholar, thank you.
their views towards that.
Yeah,
I am disappointed.
And you have to always remember that the Prime Minister, Dick Mitchell, re-emphasized that if you have to get help, you have to be a real NDC. So the people who are pretending and they right, I don't know the economic circumstances, but I know some people really on the breadline. And if they have to pretend to get a little assistance, I would not be upset to them. And this is why it's so important that people know what is the policy of the government they have. And I'm dealing with the policy of the NDC now, when the attitude to the vulnerable. And then who is the vulnerable in Grenada? And I said under extreme circumstances or emergency, anybody could be vulnerable. But generally, if you fall under the tax threshold of $3,000 a month, that means the government decide based upon your income, they would not charge you personal income tax. You're vulnerable. If you poor and the statistic division says you're making $1,000 or less, you destitute poor. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes, scholar, welcome.
how you do?
Great man.
No, I just feel compelled to call it. I didn't
You're
really
welcome. You're welcome all the
I
time.
just feel compelled to call it. Okay, in that you see, we are to careful how we speak, in that, okay, we have young. I mean, we have the young people listen to us. We even have young parliamentarians, right? Young and upcoming, and aspiring. And things. What I'm saying is, we have to be careful how we speak. In that, we have to give praise where praise is, and criticize where it need to be where it need to be criticized. Because remember, we can't just because we like somebody, they can't do nothing wrong, and because we don't like them, they can't do nothing right. We must be careful with this kind of attitude. We must be careful if somebody because remember, you there?
Yeah, go ahead. Go
Right,
ahead.
because remember,
Listen.
from Gary come right up, right? From Gary come right up, it was okay. Gary against Blaise, this one against this one against that one, and now we arrive at NEC and NNP, and it's like the hatred growing more and more and more and more, and to me it is getting more intense. You hear people saying, "Boy, I hear people saying, me, I don't want no NDC thing. Me, I don't want no NNP thing, and all this kind of nonsense on them." I do seen these. I already seen these kind of things on them, because at the end of the day, all of us is in this thing together, right? What the essence of what I'm really trying to say is this: look, if, I mean, the NDC do a lot of good things, right? I mean, it's not everything good that they do, right? The NNP do a lot of good things. Both of them do good things. Both of them do, bad things. I say. So give praise where praise is due. Criticize where need to be criticized, and let's try and leave a good image for the children and for the young parliamentarians, because remember, they're looking on, right? And they're looking on and they're learning. And we are the ones, Mr. Pierre, make no mistake about that. When we start working with stick and we on the bed and we can't raise you, and we say we will listen, and we will say, Lord, that is what politics come to in Grenada, So we have to be careful, friend. Thanks. Good.
Yes, scholar, thank you. And that's what you say is so important. Sometimes it's not that a party do wrong, but what the party is doing is not in your interest, but you did not know. And that is why it's so important to understand the policy of the party. The NDC, what NDC is doing today, it does not surprise me. I'm slightly disappointed, but I'm not surprised, because I've been studying NDC for a lot of years and the policy. And a lot of people seem surprised. But you have to know the policy of the NDC. The attitude of the NDC towards the vulnerable are always more hostile than the NNP. The NNP is more sensitive when you're dealing with the vulnerable. And who is the vulnerable? The poor, the elderly, the physically challenged and unemployed people. The NDC propagate the view that if you are unemployed, you're lazy, and government shouldn't fight to help you. In the NDC says the NNP like to make vulnerable. So you have to know the policies. Now, if you're a successful businessman in Grenada, you might want to favor the NDC because of their policies. If you know you are in the lower socioeconomic strata grouping, you may want to favor the NNP because of their policy. If you're an elderly person, physically challenged, incapacitated, you might want to favor the NNP because the policy is more sensitive towards this group. So maybe 2 years or more, we consider the NDC as vultures. We say they are vultures. What is a vulture? It is in the vulture nature to go behind the weak, the sick, and the dead. Now, a gigi in the sky timing the falls with a chicken. But they first go behind the chicken. And sometimes the hen fight the gigi to save the chicken. Sometimes when the hen cracker, all the chicken race under her wings to hide the chicken from the gigi. So that is why we call them vultures. Historically, the NDC have always been hostile or less sensitive to the cries of the poor of the poor. Why do I say that? In 1990, we had an economic situation in the country that warranted a structural adjustment program. The NDC cut the social safety net program, and they got rid of workers in the propagator and government stations. That is low rank workers. They got rid of them. And they cut social program. And they say they balanced the book. George Brizan was on the stage with a pen and a paper balancing the book. I had the opportunity to speak to him on 1 or 2 occasions, and I disagreed with him. And I compare what the NDC did then to an individual having financial problem at his home. So he decided, because I have financial problem, I will not send my children in national college. I will tell them you have to go back and cook on wood because we can't buy gas. The fridge in the house spoiled. And the man well glad the fridge spoiled. I didn't say he spoiled it, the fridge spoiled. But he would not buy another fridge because he see a drop in current. The television spoiled too. I didn't say he that juke it in the night. So less current would burn. And he cut down the education program of his children. And he restrict the spending in the house to the extent he was able to balance the book and pay his bank and meet his commitments. But his son ended up in drugs. And his daughter ended up selling sex. And he and his wife ended up in a real problem. So he was not able to save his family. He could have got rid of the car. He could have sit down with a group of children in the house and the wife and say, we have economic problem. How do we cut costs? And how do we supplement the income in the house? Maybe they might just say, let's buy a deep freeze. And we're going to sell ice and snow ice and make sugar cake and other issues. And he could have solved the problem. But he used a method to cut the cost in his house and stifle his children's education. And he lost his home. And his son ended up selling drugs and ended up in jail. In my opinion, this is what NDC did in 1990. Now we had another structural adjustment program under NNP. What did they do? They did not cut salary. They increased social spending and they legislate discipline. And it was very successful. In fact, that should be a model because the International Monetary Fund just came from Greece and the medicine they gave Greece was causing social turmoil. But when they come in Grenada, they did not cut social spending. In fact, they increased social spending. They did not cut salary. They had a lot of discussion with the trade union. Let's work together. We can't do it alone. That is what the father should have done in NDC period of time. Call the children and the wife. Say, I'm in financial trouble. You can't cut the education program of the children. You might have to increase it. And he might have been able to salvage his son. So the attitude of NDC and the NNP, where the vulnerable concern is like chalk and cheese. That is why the NDC is described as vultures. They prey on the poor. They told the elderly, we're going to give you $650. They reference the World Bank to convince them. And immediately they came into power, they removed $150 from it. And they removed a number of people from the program. People they perceive to be supporters of NNP, they remove them from the program. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes, scholar.
you just make a big light.
Well, caller. What did I lie and say?
You said that the NFP government promised $600. They are lying.
Caller, the NDC government promised
You
to.
never promised $600 to these. They are lying.
All right, caller. Okay, caller.
Yes.
Declan Mitchell quoted the World Bank.
Yes, you quote the World Bank, but you never come to give them people. You never say you will give them people money.
Caller. Let's you and I go. Caller, stop a while.
You don't give them $600 as the World Bank says. That is the exact what he says. He never said you'll give them $600. Stop relying on the man. You don't like the man. Stop here. Let me tell you something. We're talking about.
All right, caller. Thank you. Caller, when you hear you call on the program and you tell me a lie, then you must advance evidence. I've said it 1,000 times. The NDC promised in 2008, the NDC promised to raise the fee that the elderly people was getting to $450. They use an individual from St. Patrick's, an elderly person, parade him on the social media to say that. And when they reached, they did not raise it. Instead of that, they removed people from the program. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, afternoon.
Yes, go right ahead.
Something that came through my mind. Recently now, I think through the throne speech, if I'm not mistaken, that the ministers have agreed to forgo 1 month's salary. Is it every year or so? They agreed to forgo 1 month's salary. Is it that? Am I correct?
I didn't pay attention to that.
Okay, good. I think that is it. So they're going to give up 1 month salary every year. I think towards a project or whatever. Yes, 1 month salary. Now, when they came into office, the salary would have been $200. A little while after that, within a month or two or so, it went up by $2,000, and then later on, it went up to 5,000. Sorry,
The
it was
income raised to
lifted.
about 300%.
It was
It was about $600,
right.
$700, and it was raised by 300%. It's about $25,000 a month they're getting now.
Okay, good. This is what I'm saying now. So they're getting about $25,000 a month, right? Good. So tell me something. If you forgo $25,000 a year, it will mean that for each month, you divide 25,000 by how much? 3,000. You
I
divide
don't know what you did.
and you get to the result because if you're lifted
What?
the salary immediately you're lifted it.
Caller. Why they foregoing the salary? What is the purpose of it?
I think it's they said towards some project.
Well, you see, caller, that is the problem. This government is lying plenty and they're not giving information. That is why I don't partake in breaking news. Because they're telling a lot of lies.
What I was trying to say is that if they would have lifted their salary by so much, so the individual each month.
Caller, this is a reaction. This is a reaction to the criticism.
Is a tie up they're giving you there?
That these people are deceivers.
So they're giving you. They would have taken 3,000. Let me put it, they would have taken 3,000, and now they're saying they're giving you back. So in other words, they dropped the salary by so much. That's what they're trying to perceive. They cannot pay the salaries. They cannot pay those salaries, so they're dropping their salaries by that. That's what they try to show you to tie up the whole thing.
All right.
Am I there?
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So in other words, whereas they took away $150 from the eligible, when they decide after criticism decide to put back, how much did they put back? So they just tie up the whole thing so you can see what they say. So it's not 3,000 they're giving up. They're supposed to be giving up 12,000.
Yes, caller, thank you.
Month. Right.
Yeah. You see, I think it's so important. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hey, afternoon, Mr. Pierre. Mr. Pierre, that is the trend of NDC. To get in governance, the manufacture go in the lab and the manufacture a lot of lies. And I remember with the thing with the $400, I know that man very, very good. Right? Did that man die? I never end up he never end up get that. He never get that. And they was champion the cars, and it was said on the NDC platform. And look, many lies that the NDC said in the campaign. And when they get there, it's a whole revolutionary turn. In 2022, the Prime Minister said that the people who get in that money, $350, $400 something, that the government had to keep them in poverty. And the World Bank said that it should be 650. He said that. He said also that the government having the people on contract. When they have any contract, they cannot go to the bank to get a loan. To vote for them. When they vote for them, everybody will be permanent. Everybody will be permanent. Even the people that work in the private sector will be permanent. So you telling the prime minister was saying to the owner of any business place that the workers have to be permanent even who do on contract. We said, "Pay, this is a trend of NDC. They use people to get in governance, and when they get there, they turn it back on them, and they come back and lie and say they never said that. And they have people who know that the NDC said that, but they go call and defend the party when they know the party is lying. And I always say, if you know you love a party and the party do something, you have to you have to come out on the radio and call them and tell me lying. Or meet them face to face and say, Mr. Prime Minister, yes, we say that. Don't doubt it. And I do believe a big man should accept when he says something that when outside, but when you get in the kitchen and you see different, yes, he will say, yes, I said it, but it cannot happen. It cannot happen. I'm simply I call upon the Ghanaian people. You deserve better. Based on the statement that the Prime Minister made, a Prime Minister would have has power. When he in the rally in Busheju, he said the only how the NMP getting getting work because the real NDC don't know who is the NMP. So whenever Prime Minister making that statement, Mr. Pierre, that Prime Minister is not uniting people, it's dividing people. And I can see how the government, this Prime Minister, could say is solving with distinction by when you're dividing people. And you're telling the people that look out for the NMP. Once you know the NMP, no job for them. Look at the situation with the people in Cloger. Again, how they treating the people of Cloger. And it seems that's a trip appear. When
Yes,
Mr.
scholar.
Church was the minister of St. John, or the parliamentary rep of St. John, there was money located for a hospital or to build or a health center to build. The government at the time they lost that money. Look again at the situation we close again. So it comes now like NDC use the people of St. John to vote. But when they get to vote for them, they turn it back and they see them as
Yes, scholar,
nobody.
thank you.
The people of St. John, you are Mr. Alvin W is the right person to vote because he will take care of your affairs. Mr. P have a policy.
One of the reasons we having that is people don't understand. You must know the policy of the government that you have, so you will not be tricked. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre, and how are
Yes,
you?
great man.
Yes. What I always hear is asking, which is the third party they can have two things? Who really does the throne speech I heard with my ears? I listened to the throne speech, what the Governor General read. And, well, perhaps she have to read it because at a certain time, when she read a certain part, I see, well, she can't make them see what she said, but I see on her face, she had a smile on her face when she read a certain part, especially coming to this hospital and the what and what. And I have to ask, why, yes, they talk about giving up a month's salary. Every minister will give up a month's salary for that occasion for the hospital and for some other thing they say to think. And they're going to open account for members to make donation up for the project. Well, I don't. What is the donation they want? When they open themselves so big and so great, and without consulting anybody, any organization to help. No, I don't see why they want donation from other people. I don't see. Do what they have to do. They just put themselves, they don't concern, the Prime Minister don't concern about nobody to consult anybody of what he's doing. He's just doing his thing on his own with he and his people and them where he going and take his counsel from what? Chupinis, and he don't care about Grenadians. And I hope Grenadians let them see for themselves, open their eyes and see what is going on and listen what is going on. And all what they're trying to push it out with building housing, Pity Matnik and Carrico and what, that is election gimmick. Because since in the early this year, I'm a head, but I amongst politicians a long time. And they couldn't do anything because, but now they're fighting to do. Because to fool the people again, especially the younger set of people, and say, well, they're doing something just to get the vote again. But they better be careful because, as I always say, Grenada don't see the right side of Dick and Mitchell yet, you know. Let them put him back there, and then, Lord, I might have him dead and gone. But according to the old
Pray for long
saying,
life. Pray for long life.
yes, I praying for long life. But if I dead and gone, as the old saying, as you know the old saying, to hands to bring news, give me. They better know what they're doing for any election to come. To put back Dick and Mitchell, then they're going to see the true color of him.
That is
Then
why,
they're going to
yeah,
true
that
color
is,
of him.
yeah,
Dick and
yes.
Mitchell is not an NDC, as I always say. He's not. He is, I don't know what type of person he is for his own self, but God is in control, and let God have his way and do what he has to do. Have a blessed day, Mr. Pierre. God bless you.
Yeah. And that is why it's so important for NNP members and NDC members to sit down and discuss the policies of a political party. We support Maurice Bishop. Maurice Bishop never tell us he go send people in jail and castrate them and have Rasta walking naked, you know. He never said he'd have done that because you did not know he was left wing. Yes, scholar, welcome. And this is why it's so important to look at the policy of the government you have. Now, if you are in a lower income group, you may want a government that is more sensitive to you. And you look at the history of the government and the utterances of the core players. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Pierre. Yeah, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, go right ahead.
You're lying. But nobody can come from the other side to come and say you're lying. To clarify the detail. Let's forget them. I will do it easy. All right, thank you.
Yes, scholar. I always challenge people, you know. When I speak, I challenge them. That if I say something here that is not the truth, you take me on. I'm discussing the policies of the NDC. And you could tell me that is not the policy. I don't know if you know the written policy of the NDC, but the written policy of any political party will be very palatable and very wide and open. But by listening to the main players, you hear the utterances that come from their mouth. That because sometimes they say it. And you look at the history. And when you look at the NDC history and the utterances that comes from the mouth, they're very hostile to the vulnerable people in the country. And who is the vulnerable? If you fall in the income group under $3,000 a month, you're vulnerable. If you're making $1,000 a month or less, you destitute poor, you're real vulnerable. If you are unemployed in the country, particularly if your parents is not rich, you're vulnerable. If you're an elderly poor person, incapacitated or challenged, you're vulnerable. An NDC policy is hostile towards you. That is why we call NDC, I didn't come up with the term, but after about a month studying the term, I agree. NDC is poor people terrorists. The action they take is counterproductive to the poor. The NDC is like the master deceiver. And it's not only now. They have been so in the 1990 election, post-1990 election. They have been so in post-2008 election. This is the worst version of NDC. So the line of demarcation is more marked. It is more clearly seen. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes, scholar, welcome.
I investigate the mother say with the woman and the
The woman from Ticola?
Yes.
You investigated?
Yes.
Well, tell us about it.
Mr. Pierre, what I learned is that the woman give permission to do it. Afterwards, she come back and she said she don't want any toilet. She don't want that. She run them before that. When they start to do it. You could tell me that, right? She don't want any thing. After she agree, she run them before after the other place. Mr. Pierre, I am proud of my government.
Caller,
Yes.
don't jump on government now. Let's stay on that situation.
Yes, well, I tell you I investigate what
Watch me, caller. This thing is not a joke.
But
Let me tell you something. I didn't want to repeat that on air, but I'm extremely upset and angry about it. And if the NDC don't address it, we're going to take pictures and spread it all about, We'll call the people in the diaspora. She went to Tillman Thomas? Caller, do you know that she went to Tillman Thomas?
she run them before that.
Caller, stop. Do you say you investigated? So
Yes.
I dare you know. Did you know she stopped Tillman Thomas on the road and told him about it?
What she tell you?
You see, you don't investigate it. You're trying to bamboozle me. I'm not a man to joke with, Caller, listen to me. She went to Tillman Thomas. And she told, caller, you don't listen. She went to Tillman Thomas and she told him the situation. The situation is bad because of the area where she lives. The pit toilet is higher than the house. And where they dig the hole for the construction is the direct back door where she passed to go to the pit toilet. So the thing full up with water, more mosquitoes in it, and now she have to pass the round of the house, which is a steeper gradient. Caller, she's 70s. That is a crime. Caller, listen to me. Caller, listen to me. Caller, listen. Caller, no. You see, if they didn't start the work, they started it. If they did not start it, it's all right. The woman was a strong NDC. They start the work and then they hear. She turned. You can't do that. You cannot do that. This thing is a crime. This thing is embarrassing. She went to Tillman Thomas. And Tillman Thomas should call the NDC people and advise them to go and address it. He can't walk away. Caller, I don't make people kill people in this country, When I listen, I hear some people go in the United States in particular, and they blow up school and take down. I doesn't go quick to judge them, because something pushed them to that extreme. You can push people to this extreme. That's not right. You don't investigate the case. You don't know. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre. You don't have to give this man no satisfaction. This man is a lunatic.
But by
and
giving,
he doesn't listen.
Yeah, but
and he always mean five party for NNP for Dick and Mitchell and nothing whether you wrong. But as I just say, them so what encouraging Dick and Mitchell to lie and all wrong things that going on and they don't correct him. They don't like him. As I just say, you and Andre do not like Dick and Mitchell because the amount of thing out of here, you tell him how to do this and he does most of the things he does hear what all you said. But them so they don't like Dick and Mitchell, they hate him. You will have your child, have your children, they're doing the wrong thing, you don't correcting them. So that shows you don't consider them, you don't like them, you're sending them deeper in the pit. So they're sending Dick and Mitchell them so what's sending Dick and Mitchell deeper in the pit? You don't have to give him no satisfaction. Have a good day.
Yes, Collector. By discussing it also, the NDC heavyweights in the area hearing. And let them know that they don't have much to lose. And I think when we bring that, we lose compassion. Leaders must have compassion. And when a party leading the government, they're supposed to seek everybody's interest. But I consider Dickon as a political criminal. It doesn't mean that I could bring a case to him in the court to try him, because in politics is a different thing. I'm not saying he's a criminal in the sense that he go to court and they charge him. But in politics, if you are the leader of the country and you inciting violence, you telling lies, you deceiving people, you believe in retributive justice, vengeance, then you're a political criminal. And when you do that, you're breaking up the very fabric of our society. And the society is going to degenerate, where you have people in the community that used to live with one another, now they hate one another. And this is not in any politician interest, because the same neighbors that is NDC, they could get vexed with you for that. They're getting angry with you for that. If you start a project in the toilet program, it's toilet. Keith Mitchell that come up with his 10,000 toilet. Well, if you have 10,000 toilet, you have 15 constituency. That is about 700-800 toilet a constituency. So in about 2-3 years, 2-3-4 period, you could cover almost everybody. You have some people that living in bad situation. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Great, man.
Mr. Pierre, I think you should take back that statement.
Which one, caller?
The one where you said that Dickon Mitchell is a criminal, political criminal.
No, caller. Caller, let me tell you why. If I say Dickon is a criminal, I'm going to put a qualifier. Because that means, if you say he's a criminal, that means you go to court and he's a political criminal. It's just like in slavery. Those people was legal, Slavery was legal. But we consider they were criminals to have slavery.
Yeah.
So what Dickon doing, we can't bring him to court to try him for that. The fact that he is practicing retributive justice is not right. The fact that he incited violence, the fact that he became the master deceiver, we consider him as a vulture and poor people terrorists. He's a political criminal.
Mr. Pierre, that's your opinion, eh?
Well, of course, it's my opinion to expressing it.
Right.
So, caller, how does a prime minister of a country go on a stage and encourage people to use the worst bad word in the country? Tell me.
Wait, when you say take jab?
Caller, come on, you're not no little child.
No, I'm asking you, wait, this statement about take jab.
Caller, how does a prime minister know that weed is illegal and go and make a social media movie in the presence of the police with weed? That right, caller? Caller, answer me, don't run. Is that right?
I'm listening to you.
Is that right?
Mr. Pierre.
Caller, let me ask you a next one. How does a prime minister flaunt the law and the regulation in the Grenada Development Bank and raid the bank? Is that right, caller?
Mr. Pierre, up to now, we don't have facts to back that.
Caller, they are common thieves. In 1973, they put the laws that no minister, no director, or members of the family, or you call it politically exposed people, could get loan from the Grenada Development Bank. The government jumped the fence because the watchman was sleeping and they raided the bank.
Do you have facts and proof to come forward? Bring it out in the public.
Caller, did the American bomb Japan in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Caller, caller, listen to this one. How does a prime minister, one of your own ministers, come to you and he tell you there is corruption in Lotto and you fire the minister and reappoint the board? How does a man do that?
That's the reason they fired the young man?
Yes, they fire the minister and they reappoint the members of the board.
Mr. Pierre, there is more in the matter beside the
He always have more in the matter, but tell me, how does a prime minister do that?
Mr. Pierre, you know there is more in the matter.
Caller, do you agree that if a minister come to you and say there is massive corruption in national lottery, do you think it is not worthy of an investigation?
Yes, they should have an investigation.
Caller, how does a prime minister of a country and several of the top ministers selling passports on the international market, is that not conflict of interest?
Mr. Pierre,
caller, is that not conflict of interest?
Really?
Caller, how do you explain the prime minister said he did not read the Somora document? The minister of foreign affairs was vociferously against it. Who signed the document?
Mr. Pierre, let me tell you something.
Caller, you're not asking the prime minister why he's sneaking in Nigeria.
Why what? I didn't hear that one.
He's sneaking in Nigeria. He's going secretly. The governor of Lagos State chastised him publicly, for sneaking in Nigeria. Caller, you don't believe the prime minister should have a press conference after the bomb blast in Telescope?
Mr.
Answer me, man. Don't ruin me and you in this country. Me and you have to bounce up in the rum shop. Me and you must bounce up in the rum
shop. I'm in the right position, Mr. Pierre. I'm not driving, so I won't be able to discuss at the moment.
Okay, so, next time.
Thanks for chatting and thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, my brother.
When I'm relaxing one day, we go.
Yeah, you could shout me anytime, man. Yeah. Yes, my brother. You see, we have to concentrate on the policy of the government. Not everybody, that is our last caller for the day, too. Not everybody dislike NDC, A lot of people in Grenada like NDC. Now, political parties say, if you have 15% of the support in a country, you could run the country. That is what the left wing always say. So normally they have mass organization, military personnel, and they lock you up and put you in jail if you open your mouth, and then they run the country. But the left wing now are developing different technique. So what they do, they bribe some people. Those people who like to run them out, they would give them money to encourage them to change side, or they run their business to the ground, they threaten them, they hold their investments at ransom, and then they quiet down. So the effort is to quiet down Jenny Simon, done with Real FM, close down On Target, and as you go after these people, the government mouthpiece start to, nobody challenges their lies. And in that way, the public would not know the wrongs that is going on. So the prime minister and his entourage, they're not having press conference. Whenever they go, it's to very safe journalists. I hear journalists ask them questions. Okay, if you hear them turn wrong and making a whole passage to tell the prime minister how to answer a question rather than asking him a question. So the prime minister could get away with it. He believes people are going to forget about the fact that the biggest bomb blast ever in Grenada in Telescope, the government said nothing. And they take the volatile, explosive material from the police authority in St. George's. You hear saying authority. I don't know where they had it. And bring it up in a populated, low-income area and blow it up. I mean, how that could be right? How all these Grenadians sit down there and these things going on? $50 million for independence celebration. Scholar and all shocked that they say they will give them 50,000, they give him 15. Well, they're going to compensate after that. He win the crown. Well, how these things could happen in this country? How we could have a government that corrupts all the institutions? How we could do that? The government claim that they have some deal with Mount Sinai Hospital, Polaris, or whatever, to build a hospital. It's we that point out that the minimum expense for that hospital is 500 million. And then they come and say something. They say they had the money, they got 250 million US. And now, because we realize the members are squalidly greedy, and we're speaking about it, making some kind of little fancy thing about it, you give them. Ministers traveling, running up hotel bill in excess of 30,000 US. The Prime Minister is not responding to us on our accusation that he accepted gifts in excess of 30,000 US. I have never seen, I have never heard about more corruption in 3 years post 1967. We have a Prime Minister telling lies as if it's a joke. When I hear people say they don't have money, I say no. They went in office and get over 500 million in the treasury. I think it's about 530 something. They jump up, they jump up. They behave like when children inherit money from their parents and they're on coke. They got $100 million from Saudi Arabia. $118 million from the hurricane burial insurance. They claim they got $1 billion from the sale of passport. They further claim that the inland revenue was collecting more money than what they projected. How come they don't have money? You see, in life, it's not the amount of money that come in your pocket. It's what you do with the money that come in your pocket. The Prime Minister and his gangs that lead this country is as pathological parasites on the coffers of this country. The Prime Minister spent 8 million. That is what he was rumored on social media. And when we ask questions, he's not answering. 8 million in 2 years for traveling. And Mia Motley spent 1.7 million in 7 years. So if everything continues as is, and it doesn't seem there is any abate, they would spend 16 million in 4 years or more. We will continue on that trend, speaking about the policies of the government, and we'd like to hear NDC attack policies. And we're back with you again tomorrow between 12 and 1, as soon as the clock struck 12, on target, on the road with the truth. Thank you very much.
Pick up the phone, we'll take you there. Turn it up, Real FM, ride the frequency. Talking truth, talking change, talking all that's real. With Francis Pierre at the wheel. Politics to faith, the latest trend.